Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Top 5 Tuesday. I did last week, as you guys saw, I did top 5 favorite creatures in films, basically just the type of animals that I think have the most impact in horror. Today I'm going to go back to doing a film review. So I got 5 films that I've recently watched, and I will rank them from 5 to 1 and give them a score and kind of explain why or why not that I liked or didn't like these videos. So, without further ado, let's get into them. So coming in at number 5, there's a lot of people that probably will not agree with me on this one, and I know this one got a lot of buzz and a lot of people liked it, but I absolutely did not. And that was Weapons. I gave Weapons a 4 out of 10. I just didn't understand this movie. I didn't find it that fun of a watch. They didn't really explain what was going on, how this lady had so much power, and I get it, she's a witch, and they're going to do a prequel. So they're probably going to explain a lot more. But as a standalone movie, I just didn't think Weapons was that good. There were some of the violent kills those were pretty exciting. But other than that, just the whole thing in general was very weird, just kind of slow. I don't know. I just didn't like this movie. It didn't vibe with me. I know this isn't a lot of people's cup of tea, and that's definitely not mine. I'm not into some of these slow burning psychological horror movies that you see out there. And I know Weapons is a little bit more action-packed than that, but just couldn't get into this movie. Not an awful movie, just not all that good. All right, so coming in at the number 4 spot, this one's kind of interesting to me. So, it is Megan 2.0. I enjoyed the first Megan. I very much did. I thought it was a really good movie. The idea was creepy. Anything to do with AI always freaks me out because it is hyper real. There is a chance that this could really happen. Megan 2.0 to me took a weird turn. I feel like as a horror movie, strictly as a horror movie, it's like a 4. Maybe 4.5. But as an action movie, and if you're not going into it expecting it to be a horror movie, it's probably like a 5 or a 6. It was an entertaining watch. I enjoyed the movie. It was fun for what it was. But it wasn't creepy. It wasn't eerie like the first one. I feel like it would have been hard to kind of replicate what they did in the first one. And I get it, they were trying to use her again as a good person now to fight another bad AI thing. But like, it just, I don't know, I kind of got lost on that idea. The first one was good. Should have just stayed as one movie. And Megan 2.0 was a solid watch. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth checking out. But don't expect it to be as good as the first one. Go into it more as a kind of AI robotic action movie, and I feel like you'll be a little bit more pleasantly surprised. All right, so coming in at the number 3 spot is the latest installment of a franchise that I am a huge fan of. And to me, this is the worst installment out of all of them, and that is Conjuring Last Rites. I'm a big Conjuring fan. I love all of them. I like the Annabelle movies. I enjoy the Nun movies. I know a lot of people give those movies flack. I think both of them are really, really good and they're fun watches. I think Conjuring 2 was my favorite out of all of them, and I feel like it's kind of gotten worse since then. 1 was good, obviously. 2, 3, The Devil Made Me Do It was okay, but Last Rites it just didn't hit for me. I actually gave it a 5.5. I feel like they rushed it. I feel like this movie was very quick and it really focused on their family more, which I get it. As the whole point of it is basically the last of their experiences, the last of their paranormal stuff, focusing a lot on their daughter, and I get it. But like, that's not what you go to these movies to see. You go to these movies to see the creepy, the eerie, the jump scares, the ghosts. Not so much the family dynamic. I feel like they didn't help out the family in this movie as much as they did in the last ones. It just didn't feel like the first 3 Conjuring movies. It was good. There was cool cameos at the wedding scene. The creepy guys in the basement were fine. Everything was fine. The mirror demon thing was a little weird. I'd rather have seen some kind of physical manifestation than just the object, but that's not always how it works out. It was a good movie. Like I said, I will always defend the Conjuring franchise. I love the franchise, but I do think this one was probably their worst installment, right next to Annabelle Comes Home. So, coming in at my number 2 spot is a movie that won't really surprise anybody that it's high up on anybody's list when it comes to recent horror movies. This was for a lot of people the horror movie of 2025, and it is pretty high up there for me too, and that is Bring Her Back. I actually gave this a 7 out of 10, so it's a very highly rated movie for me, and I enjoyed this. I will say though, watching this movie, right away I wasn't a big fan of it. It took me a while to really let this one marinate and really understand what it was they did. And I love the idea of this movie. I love the idea of trying to bring her daughter back, trying to do this satanic ritual to bring her daughter back to her after she's lost her. I loved the idea of this movie. The lady in there was perfect. She was so creepy, so eerie, so just manipulative. She did such a great job. Everybody in this movie did a great job. They had a good amount of violence, a good amount of gore. I just think it was really well done. Makes me no surprise as to why so many people had this movie highly rated as their top movie of 2025. I have it up there as one of the best movies I've seen in a long time right now with, like I said, a 7 out of 10. I only got a handful of movies that got that high of a score, and Bring Her Back was one of them. So coming in at my number 1 spot is a movie that'll not surprise anybody at all. This was the best horror movie of last year. The best horror movie of 2025 by far. And I'm pretty sure you guys know exactly what movie I'm talking about, and that is Sinners. Sinners was a masterpiece. It was an absolutely great movie. I actually gave this a 9 out of 10. This is only the second movie that I've recently seen that I've ever given that high of a score. The other one was Late Night with the Devil. This one was another little bit of a slow burn in the beginning. I will say that I wasn't super excited watching this movie in the beginning because I feel like it took forever for anything to happen. But man, when it happened, it was fantastic. This is another one of those movies, when I watched it, it took me a minute to kind of like get what they're doing. But man, did they put this together. The acting was amazing. The vampires were amazing. The whole scene in the club with all the bootleggers and all of that stuff was amazing. The jazz band, the soul, the singing, the calling in the vampires from, wherever they were. And then you had a little bit of the elements of the Native Americans as well. There was just so many layers to this movie that just made it absolutely amazing. And it doesn't surprise me that it became, I think, the 6th or 7th highest grossing horror movie of all time. Perfectly good example of how modern horror can still be very good. This won a ton of awards. I believe it won an Oscar. So just a good movie. If you have not seen Sinners, I absolutely recommend you go watch this movie. Go into it with the idea that it's going to take a little bit for it to get going, and you will be pleasantly surprised. The movie unravels perfectly fine, perfectly well, and you will absolutely enjoy it.